It's going to get weird as a podcast. Frank Green, zooming from parts unknown with flowers on the wall. You can't bother me at all.
I will quit this thing right now. I fucking hate the Statler brothers.
I'm Scott Clark, zooming from the Murder Nap Studios. Don't ask why it's called that. It's going to get weird. 369gmail.com if you want to be a sponsor of the show. We have a brand new sponsor, Frank. I want to make sure that he did not want us to record a commercial. He wanted us to do a live read. Live read, everybody.
Hold on.
Okay.
With the commercial that you did, he doesn't want that commercial?
No, he's going to use that commercial on his radio station, which I was like, you're actually going to use that shit? And he was like, yes, it's the funniest shit I've ever heard. 2 people have said that's the funniest shit they've ever heard. It goes laughter, cocaine, laughter, acid, laughter. And he's going to let it play on his radio station.
Right.
So Big X Radio here in Kentuckiana. Now here's the cool part. 96.1 is the old station in Lexington. If you remember that, it was their rock station.
No, I don't remember it.
Okay, great. And then 1450 here in Louisville, AM. Mm-hmm. So he's got 2 different stations, and he's putting our little podcast commercial on their station.
Right.
And all he asked for live read. So if you want to be a part of local radio, terrestrial, and podcast, get with my buddy, Dugan Ryan, 1450. Big X Radio.
What do they do on Big X Radio?
It's mainly a sports station, a local sports station.
Like curling and stuff?
Curling. And
softball?
Well, hang on. You know I love
men's
women's
softball.
No, women's.
Men's fast pitch.
Slow pitch softball. I love women's fast pitch softball.
Right. That's so men's slow pitch.
And Mensa. So they're all geniuses. But no, it's a local radio station, and everyone denied this guy, and he bought 2 stations. So the first station I was on with Dickhead, and did that morning show, Dickhead, and we did that station, and he was the first guy after Clear Channel said, "Oh, you're canceled." When iHeart bought out Clear Channel and I was done with everything, the one guy that came to me was Dugan, and so let's do a state. Shut up, dog. And he said, whatever you want to do. And we did it. And because a certain person was a dickhead, it didn't last very long. I got a backache. I've said that before on podcast. But Dugan Ryan has been a close personal friend for years. And he said, man, you've done so many radio spots for me for free. I will absolutely put you on my station, 1450, 96.1, the Big X. And here's the weird thing. He did this. He put all of his money. He went all in and said, I'm going to make a radio station. And it's 100% local, Kentuckiana. So you got the 7 counties in Louisville, and you also have all the counties around Lexington, 96.1. So he's got 2 sticks, which is 2 different stations. And he is decided to be a part of the It's Going to Get Weird podcast nation. My man.
Right on. So how did this happen? Did he work for Clear Channel at one point? What kind of radio guy was he?
He was a sales rep for Clear Channel when I was the director of promotions for a particular 7 stations. That's how you got paid. And we did a lot of stuff together, and we became friends. And then he bought his own station, and he actually came down, and I'll tell you a funny story. He came down to the Gator Bowl. I want to say it was the Gator Bowl, Bobby Petrino's last football game, and me and a certain guy named Craig stood up on our 6th floor balcony and threw Rolos. You know the candy Rolos? We were just throwing them at people. We were aiming for the pond at the other end of the complex. But then we thought it would be funny to start throwing them at people and see if they noticed. And we're 35-year-old guys. We're throwing Rolos at people ducking.
So what does that have to do with
Dugan, him and his wife, I'm not going to say her name, were right across. Their room was right across from us. And he came and was like, what are you guys doing? Like, we're throwing Rolos at people. I was like, let me get in on this shit. was like, all right, let's throw some Rolos at people.
What kind of rich people throw fucking Rolos at people?
None of us are rich people. We're hanging out with rich people.
Somebody's rich. He bought a fucking two radio stations.
Well, back then you could buy a radio station for about in Detroit.
$30.
In Detroit, what's it worth? Or Philadelphia, what's it worth?
About $150.
$50. So, and he's done, and they had their 10-year anniversary this weekend. They asked me to come out, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's in Georgetown." And then I realized it was a part of another part. I got the address wrong, so I was like, "I'm not going 28 miles after working on a farm all day to go to your thing." But I love you. So he is putting our commercial on their station. There are 2 stations actually, and I just want to say, Dugan Ryan, Big X Sports Radio, get a hold of him. You can email us at it's gonna get weird 369@gmail.com if you want to be a part. I'll send you his number. I probably should have had this ready, but I have.
Does he do any music at all?
No,
or is it all talk?
Now it's all talk and it's all sports radio. And here's something he's done that I think is weird, but I can't shame him. Or there's like some weird, super conservative, damn near Rush Limbaugh kind of style show that they have on 3 hours a day.
Right.
And I was like, I hate it, but I think that's the smartest thing you could have done. I mean, the only one that had anything, like we talked about this with a couple other, who's the next Rush, who's the next whatever.
Right. 10 years ago, it might have been the best thing. But maybe not so much today.
What, and we talked about this too.
I'm just saying.
Who's going to have all conservative radio? That's not going to work.
Right. Conservative radio doesn't work anymore because conservative people don't listen to the radio anymore. They do all their shit online, and the days of Rush are gone.
Yeah, but he's got a conservative radio station or a conservative talk show that goes 3 hours. It's all sports, all everything, but then he has 3 hours of conservative. And and I've said it before. I think it's
pays
nice.
The bills.
Yeah,
it pays the bills.
Sometimes you got to do. I've done a lot of shit I didn't like to do to pay the bills.
But let's face it. Clear Channel had Rush on because he had gigantic sponsorship. People would pay big money for those commercials, and that's exactly why it was on.
And the words they used in corporate America, and this is 20 years ago, folks and babes, keeps the lights on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I understand it from that point of view. I'm just not sure these days that it's going to conservative talk is anything but insanity.
We had this conversation when we finally talked about putting the commercial on, because I was concerned. I mean, we put it on the we put it on the podcast a couple weeks ago, the commercial, and like I said when we started, it's basically laughter, cocaine, right. Laughter, cocaine, laughter, acid, laughter. And I was like, it's a bit risque. And he's like, I don't give a shit. It's my radio station. I was like, that's my kind of guy.
Why aren't we on there?
We are on there.
No, why aren't we on there?
You want to do another show for free?
It can't have any less listeners than we already have.
It would probably have more.
It would have more.
I guarantee if you want to do a radio show on that station, on those 2 sticks, I guarantee I can make that happen. Is that something you want?
Let's do it.
Done.
Why not go all in? Why not flood the market with our greatness?
What'd you say? Thinly veiled racist jokes?
No, we don't have thinly. We do.
It's totally veiled.
Yeah, it's totally veiled. It's totally opaque.
Opaque. We got to stop using big words if we're going to be on a sports station.
It's the long black veil without the long part.
All right, so that was kind of funny to me. All right, so moving on. What's something that funny happened to you this week? We always talk about this. The first thing we'd like to start about.
Nothing.
Nothing. Cars.
It is not.
Anything absurd?
I haven't laughed at all.
All right.
We
Let me
talked
tell you
about
that.
this.
Great. Then we did talk about this, and so I'm going to take yours and take mine, and I'm going to push them forward. Push, push, push them all way out. It's a Bill Cosby joke. Probably not appropriate right now. All right. So the first thing. So I was on Sunday. I went to the grocery, and I've known this a grocery. I started out with what I do for a living without being thinly veiled. I started out grocery. I did a bunch of grocery stores, and that's what I did for a living. And I've known this lady for, I mean, it's more than a decade. I know her mom who passed away 6 years ago. I know her husband who passed away 2 years ago.
Okay, who is she and what has she got? Where,
Her name is Tina. I'm not going to use any other names. We've learned that.
where's this story going? Just, I mean, as far as instead of telling me who she is, tell me where she is, how she's important.
I'm in my local grocery store.
Okay.
I go there all the time. I worked in that grocery store, and I still do, and I still shop there all the time. Cool.
Piggly Wiggly?
No, Food Line.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That food is Carolina's Food Line.
Pick and Pack.
Piggly Wiggly is also the Carolinas. I just want to say. So I'm at Marsh and
Publix.
Publix. I think it is.
It's Publix.
That's just sounds weird.
Publix.
Well played. Fair enough. So Tina, I've known her mom. Her mom passed away recently. Her husband passed away. I know this lady. I've known her for years. And I would think that she knows me. She is in charge of the self-checkout lane.
Knows you.
Knows me, quote unquote. I mean, hey man, I've known this bitch for 10 years. And she comes up and we get done and I get all my shit checked out and I'm walking away and she goes, "Happy Father's Day." And Scott would be like, "Hey bitch, you don't," I wanted to say a million things and I was stumped for once and I went, "Thanks a lot, man." And I walked away. Someone said Happy Father's Day to me. I don't have any kids.
Right. But sometimes people say that to, I don't know, me, anybody. It's a holiday.
But why would she look at me knowing me?
Because you're not a close friend of hers. You're somebody she deals with at work. She can't keep all that shit straight.
But
she can't keep all that shit straight.
What about me says father?
I don't know. What about you says
a lot of things.
I didn't say that. You said that.
I said it on myself, but I was like, I was stunned. And I just went, "Thanks a lot, man." It's what came to mind from episode 7 of 9. We say it all the time, but she said, "Happy Father's Day." And I was like, I didn't know what to say. I was dumbfounded. I went, and I'm never dumbfounded. I got a million things to say. And I was like, "Thanks a lot, man." And I walked out and I was like, is it because I'm white and old? Maybe a little chubby in the middle? I don't know.
No, it's just that it's Father's Day. I think that's the overarching issue that you're missing. That it was Father's Day.
My father's dead. Thanks a lot,
Doesn't
man.
matter. It's not about you. It's about wishing somebody Happy Easter, Happy Christmas, Happy Father's Day, Happy Veterans Day.
And that's how I took it. I thought she was just being nice and said that and just assumed I was a father. But shit. Shit, man. I'm Joe Braxton. I'm Mrs. Braxton's favorite son.
All right. That's like the third time you've used the black voice today.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't used any.
Yeah,
I can use the black voice if you want. All right. All right. So the second thing was, and I already texted you. On this one, the BMX update.
Yeah.
I want to say, first of all, after reviewing it and showing you the BMX, it was actually a mountain bike.
Oh, well.
Does that make a difference?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better.
It really does.
But the guy was still taking a nap in direct sunlight. I still don't get that.
It tells me he's got something wrong with his judgment center of his brain. If you can't look around and go, oh,
There's some shade.
yeah, oh, there's a tree another 100 feet down there, I'll walk there. Instead, he goes, nah, I can't make it any further. I'm going to drop right here and face the sun. Totally flat.
All right.
Horizontally.
I'm going to explain the story, even though we don't like. I'm going to stay in the moment, but I'm going to explain the story. We have Frank and I have a joke about BMX, hot BMX talk, all over the place. And lately, I went down the street, and it was even closer to my house. This guy had a BMX talk, but he had it was a mountain bike. And he was just laying back with his hands behind his head in direct sunlight on a 90-degree day.
Maybe he'd been just tired and tuckered out from a long day working, just going job to job on that bike, pulling a lawnmower with a 12-pack of Diet Pepsis hot between his legs, chafing the box.
Proud sponsor of It's Gonna Get Weird is Artie Smith. You want to do a sponsorship? Give him a free plug.
Who?
Artie.
Is his name? Artie Smith.
I was being funny. Artie McKenzie.
What's that have to do with Artie?
The BMX dragging the. You said it on Facebook. Yeah. If you don't want a guy dragging a stolen
on a BMX bike, dragging a stolen lawnmower, cutting your grass.
Call Little Mac Fatty, Artie Mac.
Artie Smith, as you said.
Artie
Smith.
Artie Smith. That's fine. We'll be fine.
That shit'll kill you. That stuff will kill you.
Too late.
Too late.
Too late. But you were right.
Yeah, that guy.
I saw the guy, and I'm like, I literally wanted to yell, "Hey, man, there's shade right down the street. What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "Hey, at least he still has his Jordans on." And I drove around the parking lot one time to take a picture to send to you, and he had kicked his Jordans off. And it reminded me of a particular story. When the first time, and I was 22. When's the first time you got on an airplane?
Wow, I'm not really sure. I couldn't tell you.
Remotely.
I don't know, 25, 30 years ago?
Your age. I was 22.
Okay, about 25.
And I won a trip. I'd worked for Cellular One, which I will say out loud because it's no longer available. And
Talk to me.
So Cellular One. Remember when I worked for Cellular One, Frank?
Fuck yeah. The Gimp, Sean,
those
everybody.
I got all those motherfucking jobs.
Everybody else who was unemployable at the time had to work at the job.
And 2 out of 7 are dead. That is a true story.
That is a true story.
It is a true story, and I love the Gimp. And he was our mascot. That's the easiest way to say it.
That is the best way to describe Tim. He's the band's mascot. He was like Roger.
I love that dude.
He was like Roger from the American Dad without anything funny, without any of the funny traits.
It was one time that motherfucker. We played in Chattanooga, and he started on one end of the bar and crawled.
Oh, no, he looked like Slimer from fucking Ghostbusters.
He crawled from one end of the bar. He described the bar in Chattanooga.
No, he didn't climb from one part of the bar. He climbed from one side of the stage to the other on those seats.
Yeah, but describe the whole situation in Chattanooga because it was very unique.
In what way? Describe it.
Because we were all. It was a 4x4 stage, and so we were all one by one. No one was. There was not. It was one stage.
Everyone was standing next to each other instead of in a typical band formation on stage. It was like right to left. You know, Scott Clark, left to right. Scott Clark, Chris Donahue, Billy Masterson, Frank Green, Sean Kennedy. We were just all side by side, but it was about 25 or 30 feet 30 feet long, the stage.
And then we would get up. I don't know about you, but Sean and I would get up and put our feet. We'd stand up on the little 4-foot section with the brass,
Right.
and we would stand up on the little edge and play. And in front of us, there were booths that went that entire length.
Correct.
And so we called him the Gimp. That's what he wanted to be called. We're not being.
Yeah, it's
I don't
strange.
even fucking care. That's what he wanted to be called. I called Tim the Gimp.
He was a gimp.
He was a Gimp. He was in a wheelchair, and we loved him, and we took him on the road with us. Jesus, not Jesus, but okay, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we would have there was booze that went across that whole front of the stage. So you imagine a 4x4 stage. Imagine a piece of plywood that went from one end to the other, and we're all one by one by one by one by one across. And then there was a little 4-foot separation with those brass bars that you have at bars. And then we would get up and put our feet on those bars and make sure that we could rock out, but we wouldn't fall the fuck down.
Basically, it's a wall. It's a 3-foot wall that you could stand on that divided the band from the people in the club.
Yes. And then we brought Tim down a couple times to Gimp. And one time he came down and started by you and Sean at the far end by the door. And then you saw his wheelchair hit one end, and he would just go from one table and then would crawl over with no legs. I mean, he was like, all he had was arms, and he would pull himself to the next step. And he bought drinks the entire way. And then by the end of when he got to my side of the stage, which was the end, that's where he puked.
Dude, he was.
But everyone loved Tim and loved us and loved that night. We had a guy with us, and we take him everywhere. There was one time somewhere in Tennessee, it wasn't Chattanooga. We stopped, and he had to. I'm leaning back, just be an example. He had to lean back in a chair because of his esophagus or whatever, and he puked all over our band van, and everyone went, "Who's going to deal with this?"
Yeah.
I was like, I got it. I was like, "Hey, Gib, get the fuck out of the way. Crawl your ass out of here. I'm going to get a hose and shower this shit off." I cleaned that whole thing, and him and I slept together that night and laughed our asses off. He puked, and literally the next morning, he got up and crawled around.
Yes, he did.
And cleaned everything that I didn't clean the night before. Fucking love that dude. God, I love that dude. I love that dude. It was a good time. That was the night I did the joke about Sean and David Letterman. Do you remember that joke?
Yes.
A gap between the teeth. Would you take that branch, motherfucker? It was a good time. I actually did him a favor this weekend.
How's that?
A friend of ours who is leaving for Thailand, actually is in Thailand right now. Sean's daughter is interested in being a screenwriter. And so luckily, one of our friends has a bunch of books on that stuff.
Right.
So I went there the other day, and he said, "Hey man, just come by and say goodbye." And I was like, "Great." And he's like, "Hey, can you take me to the UPS store?" "Hey, can you take me to the liquor store?" "Hey, can you take me to the bank?" So I did all those things. "Hey, by the way, pick up all this stuff for Sean's daughter." And I was like, "All right, I'm just gonna take it to Sean's house." And I took it to Sean's house, and he was like, "Just put it on the back." I got a gun.
Hold on.
No, when you get a friend and they ask you to pick something up.
I don't know what's going on. I've lost you.
That's all right. I see your screen is not sharing. I'll take a moment to do something else.
All right, I'm back.
Are you back?
I'm back.
Yeah, I saw the picture. It was the guy that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when someone goes, "Hey, pick this up from my friend," you're like, "No problem at all," and then it sits at your house for 6 months.
Right.
I was like, "I'm not having that." So I picked it up and I drove it right to Sean's house. "It's on the back porch, man. Your neighbor didn't shoot me. I'm cool. All good."
And then
What else, man?
Okay, can you is there a real way to learn how to do screenwriting, or is it just something you do and you learn from the people who are already doing it,
Well,
just like anything else?
all right. I'm gonna put this out there. I'm gonna be bougie a little bit, but I'm also gonna be real. I
Bougie is a term to describe black people, by the way. It's a black term. It's not a white people thing.
okay, so I'm gonna be arrogant. How about that? I'm gonna be white privilege.
Bougie is middle class. Is like highfalutin middle class.
Highfalutin. I fucking love that term. I'm gonna do this real quick.
It's funny because I heard when people started using the
You
term
and
bougie,
you and
it's like bougie is when you aspire to be a higher class than you are.
I would never. I'm not that guy.
Right.
You know
But
that.
that's what bougie. That's what
Well,
I
good.
usually mean.
Well, good. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate that because I'm not that. What I mean, I don't want to be arrogant, but I have thought about comedy, movies, script writing since I was a little kid.
Right.
I'm not good at it, obviously. I'm not worried about that. I do it because I love it, and it doesn't matter. But
Well, you got to be good at it. You got to do something a lot to do it well, though, right?
100%,
Right.
you have to. And
So you're not writing comedy movies, or
comedy jokes.
you're not writing comedy movies, just like you said, comedy movies. You're talking about writing them, wondering about.
If I can be 100% honest, and this could be good or bad, and that's the best part about this podcast is I don't care. I'm going to be 100% honest. I have found after working on a few sitcoms, let's say one, a terrible sitcom. I go ahead, Frank. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead, because I don't mean it.
It wasn't a sitcom. It was.
I helped write a sitcom that got made, and it was shit.
A pilot got made.
A pilot got made. You're right. Yes, I agree with that, and I don't want to sound like I did this.
A low rent pilot.
It wasn't even a low rent; it was a no rent.
Black.
Hey, how far are you going? To the end of this fence? Okay, that's what I did. And listen, everybody that was involved in it, they were great people. I had a good time. I got to go out to LA. I got to do all that shit, but
You got to get cut out.
I literally go back and go, I think I had one of my lines that were in that entire thing. It was a whole lot in my mind. It was a whole lot better when I wrote it.
And then when it went up for the Silver Lake Best Comedy of the Year on 12th Street Video Music Award Emmy Oscar night, and it won. It took the world by storm.
It was the Melwood comedy. It was the Melwood something, and everybody's like, "Hey, let's take pictures." And I'm like,
No.
"Fuck each and every one of you." First of all, you never mentioned my name. Well, you didn't really write it. I was like, "Really?" I did write it, and then you all changed it, and fuck you. And I'm still friends with both those guys today, but that's how Hollywood works, man. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, just get used to people fucking you.
Right, do what you want to do, write what you want to do whatever, and it doesn't matter. That's why I do
Fuck
comedy.
Fuck whoever, because money is all.
When you take the best part is when you take money out of it.
Yeah, but that's why people do the shit that they do.
Not me.
It's for money.
Not me.
No, I'm talking about the people who cut you out. People cut it out because it's less mouths to feed.
Yeah.
It's less mouths to pay.
It's like the first time I saw and by the way, folks, you can go find it right now. It's called Band-Aids on IMDb.
But it's just like any. I mean, it's like, oh, hey, it's like the first thing an executive does when somebody pitches him something. He goes, well, "That's great, but instead of everybody being white, let's make them all Chinese." And they go, "Well, that doesn't really work." He goes,
"What?
That works for me." that works for me. And he goes, let's run with that for a minute. And then all of a sudden, you've taken your 100% ownership, and now this guy has assumed 50% of it. That is Hollywood. It's
100%. And listen,
changing all of your things that you worked on in a split second, and then taking ownership of that idea and taking half ownership of the project.
and I say the same thing every time. I didn't spend a dime on this.
Right.
And I love the two guys that I worked with on it. I'm just going to say Dano and Todd. I'm not calling you fucking TJ, you fucking cock.
You mean JT?
JT, yeah. I'm not calling JT and Dano.
I think he dropped a tranny in my Barracuda last weekend.
But I also keep this in mind. When Dano came in to help, Dano was the guy in Hollywood that JT knew. And he started getting, so why wouldn't you?
Why are you calling him JT when you just said you're going to call him Todd?
Todd. Okay, so Todd Blankenship. I said the last name. Fuck him. He's a friend of mine. We did this thing together. We wrote this whole thing. We wrote 7 or 8 episodes, and we tried to make it like Friends, but it was band, like all of our band stories from Chattanooga to whatever. It was all about that, and we wrote this whole thing. Right. And so the pilot came down, and he got a hold of a guy in Hollywood named Dano.
This pilot sounds terrible. I don't know who he is or what he thinks he's doing, but this pilot needs to back off.
The pilot is fucking terrible, and I guarantee Dano and Todd.
You said this pilot came down, and I just
if you came down
like he was a physical
pilot,
like he was like a guy who drove, flew airplanes. This pilot,
hey man, if the pilot comes down, that ain't you didn't do a good job. But I became really good friends with both of them. I mean, Todd's our friend, and Dano and I became good friends. What are you doing?
I'm staring at you.
Dano and I became really good friends, and I get what he was doing.
Right.
I mean, he's a guy. He knows people. He knows Hollywood. He knows this, and he gets to direct something, put his name on, and that's what it is. I think people want to put their name on stuff.
People want to credit.
And
just stuff for the resume.
They flew me out for production locations to find what was good, which I found out later was really my credit card for a rental car and to drive around. They need my credit card. But I never spent a dime. I got paid back. So no bullshit to either of those guys. But okay. I drove around, and I know Dano and his wife are in a lot of commercials.
Yeah, I've seen him in Geico commercials a lot.
Yeah, all the time. And his wife, I'm not going to say his wife's name, but she's in KFC commercials. And they're beautiful people. I love them to death. They're great. They moved to Louisville. And I still hang out with them. But, I mean, if you're doing something like that and someone wants to do, let me show you how to do Hollywood. Here's how we do it. And they, and Todd had the money and spent the money. So we did a pilot. We got it made. And it was fucking terrible because it was not what we had originally wrote.
Now, second off, the red tint of a shirt that they put Kevin McCreary in was atrocious.
It was.
Why do you put a man with a giant under spare tire belly
Fremunda
in this red? I mean, even make a bull angry with that shirt. And I'm just like, he looks like he was up eating pizza and Strombolis all night and drinking beer, and he looked all dry and fucking hungover. And I'm like, God, somebody put some makeup on that dude.
If you were Kevin, what would you do? The exact same thing, I guarantee it.
What's that?
Show up the next morning. I'm not getting paid. I'm doing a favor. Fuck you. And by the way, I picked that location.
Kevin was a star, though.
That logo. Oh fuck! You know how much I love Kevin.
I mean, but Kevin, liked being seen.
Yes, and funny enough, it was about 2 weeks ago. Kinley, his daughter, I sent her our episode about you and I talking about Kevin,
right,
to her, and she had not responded. And about 2 weeks ago, she was like, "Oh my God, I never saw this. I can't believe it." I was like, "It might be hard to hear, but you're going to love it because it's nothing but love about Kevin." So she has not responded. So either she wants to stab me or she loves us.
Well, she
It's
loves
going to get
me.
weird as a
She
podcast.
definitely loves me.
I always call her, I always jokingly, because that was something that Kevin would do all the time. I always call them other make up
I
names from
know.
everything.
You make
Yeah.
up, yeah.
All right. Good to talk to you, Lucy and Kinsey. Just to fuck with them. And they love it. And they know that I'm doing it for the dad. And I can do the love gun thing right now.
You're limiter
That's
on
so
that.
good.
Yeah.
All right, folks. I want to, folks and babes, I want to throw out to our new sponsor, 1450 961 Big X Sports Radio. Get a hold of them. Dugan Ryan is the guy. It's easy to find. I'm Scott Clark. That's Frank Green. It's going to get weird 369 at gmail.com. If you want to be a part of the show, come on. I'll make a commercial. Frank will make a commercial. We'll fight for a commercial. Come on. We'll take
Will we?
I don't know. You're yawning. We'll take a quick break, talk about our next sponsor, Metal Forge, and we'll be right back. And we're back. It's going to get weird as the podcast. Frank Green, Scott Clark. If you want to be a sponsor, it's going to get weird 369 at gmail.com. We're available on all platforms. You know that by now. I want to thank our.
If they're listening, they found us.
Pretty much. I think we're in 14 countries now. By the way, my man, I want you to look me in the eye and do it the weird way. We hit our 2,000th download. 2,000 download. People fucking listening to us.
It's not a lot.
It's not a lot in podcast standards, but for us, I mean, I personally want to thank JBH, MDR. They're big fans. My sister, hey, fuck you, Lee Ray. My sister, I want to thank Billy Masterson, Stephen Clark, who, did you see what he said to me on Facebook today?
No.
He's so fucking funny. He was like, hey, I'm looking for some young gun drummer out there. And like every one of his friends that plays guitar, that also plays drum, was like, me. So it was like Bobbyologist, me. And I said, he's like, do you have any videos of you? And don't do that comedy shit. So I sent him a picture of me doing Fire in the Hole by a Steely Dan. He was like, I told you no comedy shit.
That's
Stephen Clark.
Steely Dan.
What did I say?
Steedley
Dan. You know the band, Steely Dan. Hey, everybody, look, coming up right now. Hot Steely Dan talk.
That's Tony Vanetti knows who Steely Dan is.
He definitely does. I like to thank Tony Vanetti. And let's talk about a couple guests that we got coming up. First one.
I'm not talking about any guests because they won't fucking return my email.
She will.
I'm not talking about any guests until they fucking talk to me.
Well, I've got the Rushmore guys on it.
I'm like, God damn, do you check your email more than once every 6 days?
Whatever his name is, Matt Mount, Marty from the Rushmore podcast.
Pat.
You know, Pepper's not going to do anything. He's going to kill somebody. They put it on their podcast like, we got this. The certain person we're going to have on. I was like, and they had Steve Cantwell, #1 episode of all time for It's Gonna Get Weird. I was like, you've been on our podcast. He's been on both our podcasts. She's supposed to be on our podcast. Fuck yeah. No one responded. And I was like, I'd love 3.6 people of you. And I was like, 0.6 is Pepper. Him and his fucking weird mullet and country music shit.
It's ironic. I think it's ironic. I don't think he does it because he likes it or he loves it. I don't think the girls love it. I think Theo Vaughn started a trend. Everybody thinks it's cool to have a fucking mullet now. It's like, motherfucker, you did not live through the mullet fucking great mullet crisis.
Oh, wait. Okay. Will you wait 1 second? I literally, in the room right across from here, I have a picture of me with a mullet.
Okay, can we talk though here?
Yes, keep talking. I'm going to. All right.
So Scott always here's Scott's thing. Scott's always like, you don't talk enough, you don't engage enough. And then I get on a roll and he goes, okay, stop. I'm gonna go in the other room and get a picture of me. It's like, yeah, no wonder I don't fucking talk.
Fuck no. Me. Just like a woman. Put me out. I'm on fire.
Well, I wish you'd do some engage a little bit more on the show so I can take that time from you and shine that light on me.
Well, yeah. Of course. It's me.
I know.
You've known me alone. What did you think was going to happen?
All right, I remember to tell you to fuck off next time you say that shit then.
Please, because that will actually set me free and set me apart and put me back in place. I love you. I just said I love you.
That's cool.
That's cool. All right. I love you. That's cool. I love you. What are you, Han Solo? I know.
I'm much cooler than Han Solo.
So, yes. Somebody said to me, and I was like, oh, no, I'm much cooler than Han Solo. Fuck Han Solo. All right. So, this is going to be a video thing.
Okay.
But either way, it's me in, see, that is 10th grade because my parents bought me the shitty sweater. I wanted the LL Bean sweater, and they bought me something from Kohl's instead.
Jesus Christ, what a tragedy.
I know that now, but still. But if you look under my right ear, you can see my full-on fucking mullet. And here it is, folks and babes.
Good-looking kid. Besides the rickets and the scurvy.
Rickets. I got my ass beat 7 times that year.
I'm surprised.
That was the year I learned how to fight. Still good looking as fuck. I don't give a shit. Look at that mullet though. Left ear. God damn, that's a good mullet. All right. So we'll just do this. And then junior year, I decided to get a polo shirt, polo tie, and a full-on mullet before I did the Steven Adler, which is another story. We'll save that for next time. But this was pre-Steven Adler.
That's Flock of Seagulls.
No,
that's the Flock of Seagulls. You had a rat tail, Scott.
No, it was full on. It looks like a rat tail, but it was full on, man. I had long hair. There was never a piece of trim that didn't like Scotty. I got laid a lot.
Are you telling me that because it makes you feel good?
No, I'm telling you that because it's the truth, man. I was getting trim at 15, 16, 17. I couldn't be stopped, especially my older sister's friends. Truth.
Man.
They would come over to my sister's house and be like, what's up, your little brother? And my sister would go, God. And they would all bang me. Every one of my sister's older hot friends would bang me.
And how old were they?
19, 20.
Okay. And
I was 16, 17.
Okay. What's their names again?
Let's see. Your Honor, their names are, I'm not saying any of their names because I was a willing participant.
That doesn't matter.
And my sister will not deny this at all. And Leroy's going to hear this. Hey, so fuck you, Leroy.
Leroy was an accessory.
Yes.
She was accessory to rape.
My sister was
an accessory to rape.
Jeffrey Epstein.
No, she was an accessory to rape.
Yeah. Can you rape the willing, though? I was willing.
There might be a 15-year-old girl out there who wants me to fuck the shit out of her, Scott. I can't do that.
But if I'm 15 and I'm banging a 19, 20-year-old,
it's the same thing in the eyes of the law. It's the same thing in the eyes of the law.
In the eyes of, you know what?
In the eyes of the law, it's exactly the same.
I'm turning over to Republican right now. No, I'm not. I'm not. Never.
Yeah,
do that.
because that's pretty much all they're for.
But I remember specifically my sister, like one of her friends would go back to her, like she would have them over and they would sleep over
Right.
and they go bang me and then come back. And my sister would be like, no, Lee Ray's a badass. She was like, no, you fucked my brother. You go sleep with him, motherfucker. You ain't sleeping with me. I know he hasn't showered in 7 days. My sister was badass about it. She's like, no, you fucked him. Go get it. You're done. Not in my bed. And my sister would just, every time one of her friends would come over and I would know it, I would know that it was going to happen just because, let's be honest, I was a good looking motherfucking kid.
You had a weak chin.
You want to fight now?
No, I said you had a weak chin. Hold it back up and look at your chin.
I got 7 of them. Which one you want to see?
No, you had a weak chin. Look at it. Hold it back up. Yeah.
I did. You're right. Junior year, I was I was 16.
Your chin hadn't caught up with your cheeks.
My ears are still in there. Look at those motherfucking ears.
Yeah.
So, but my sister, as soon as she would know that when one of her friends came over and they wanted to bang me, Lee Ray would look at me in the eye and go, she knew it was going to happen. It was something about, I don't know, my dad or me or whatever. She would know. And she was just like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, yay, YMCA. We're talking about I was like, yes.
Man, that's quite a dynamic you got going on out there in Richie Richville.
I just, Richie, we're in an apartment, a 3-bedroom apartment that costs $425 a month. Yeah, it was Richie Richville.
Is that why you got mad because they got something from Kohl's?
Yes, that's exactly why. Fucking Kohl's. I secretly, whenever they buy me, I just, oh, thank you at Christmas. And I gather it all up and I take it back and get it, all of it's, of course, it's all, discounted stuff. So I just get how much? So I gave you these 17 items and it's worth $1.48.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
The sale was take a 50 off and then take another 30 off.
It's all right. They do it to buy me stuff, and that's fine. I love it. But my sister, my favorite thing about my sister is that her friends would bang me, A, and B, she would know it and just look at me and go, God damn it. You're gonna bang my friend, aren't you? Yes, I'm gonna bang your friend. And then I would bang their friend, and then she would leave the next day, and my sister would be like, God damn. How do you do this?
How does your sister how would your sister react again?
Which part?
I'm joking. You said you gave the same reaction like 8 times.
Yes. What? I give the same reaction 8 times?
Yeah,
I've never done that.
But
no, my sister she owes me a trophy. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Did you bang any of your sister's friends?
No. There was 6 years difference between my closest sibling and I.
Yeah, mine's 4. That's not that far.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great story.
I don't ever want to hear you talk about the fucking South End again.
I you know what? I never will. I won't. I'm embracing it. All right. You got to have something funny, something to talk about, something.
I was talking about it before you went into a 15-minute I fucked my sister's friend screed.
All right. I apologize. Hey, everybody. Hot apology talk.
We'll get to it next week, I guess.
Jesus. Anything?
Yeah, I was talking about it.
I'm sorry, I fucked up. What do you want?
Nothing.
It was a great story, right?
Was it?
Was it? Question mark.
Was it?
I thought it was. I
It was a
went
little
off on a tirade.
cringeworthy.
Man, I've been using sledgehammers and
Oh
wine
God. What's that have to do
glasses.
with telling stories?
All right.
It's an honest question.
I don't know. I have my own things to talk about, and I'll try to get you included, but apparently I cut you off a little bit.
That's all you do.
Kind of my thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, I mean, you have me on here just so you can wrap around to tell your stories, which is fine. But don't give me shit when I'm like, okay, I'm just letting you do your thing. And then you go, oh, why don't you talk? I'm like, because it always ends up getting cinched. Always.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I do.
Always. I mean, I'm not being a dick. It always gets cinched.
It does.
I never get to finish a thought. I never get to finish flesh out an idea or whatever we're doing. It just gets stopped. And you go, all right, cool. And you freeze me and you go and you start juggling.
Yes.
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 It's the truth. So
it is.
I mean, it's hard to do show prep when I know that I'm going to have a whole list of things that is going to go from 4 episodes. I'm going to be able to go 4 episodes and not cover all 8 of these items. So that's why I stopped.
I know who I am.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying I'm giving you reasons why when you give somebody freedom, you say, I want you to do your thing. And then every time they do their thing, you go, all right, stop. All right, here's what we're going to do.
Right. Stop, collaborate, and listen.
No, there is no collaborate. It's stop, listen.
I know. 100%. And I agree with that. And I'm sorry. You know,
so why did you say, I just thought I'd give you a little bit more, space. I just tried to give you something that, a minute ago. Because
I realized what I was doing and want to give you more. And I'm wrong. So here you go. What do you got?
I don't have anything because I know it's going to get kiboshed.
I'm not going to say anything for 5 minutes.
I don't, that's not fun to me.
Okay. I will say anything I want to for 5 minutes, but I want you to start something. Go. Are you gleeking? You're gleeking. You're fucking gleeking on me, man. I know exactly what. Fuck you, and you're gleeking. He's gleeking. Does anyone in this entire universe know what gleeking is? He is gleeking. He is spitting out of a weird gland in his left jaw at me. I know.
Like a snake.
Shut up, Frank.
Like a snake.
This is where I talk. You're gleeking at me.
Hold on. You mean in between the beginning and the end? This is where you talk? Somewhere between the moment that we start and the moment that we stop. It's like the Scott sine wave. There's like
I can only do what I do.
I know.
And I hey, shut up, dog. Here's a carrot, you motherfucking dog.
You need this shit. You need to do this show like Wolfman Jack or fucking or no, that's Fat Albert. Or like Casey Kasem. You need to have your own show where you tell or Rick Dees. You tell your own stupid stories. You do your own thing and you tell your own stuff and you circle back around. You do whatever you want to do and you've got no one to stop that. I mean, I'm saying that would be perfect for you. A one-man show.
I agree with all of those things.
I know.
Except for Casey Kasem.
What's wrong with Casey Kasem?
No. I'm sorry. I agree with all those things except for Rick Dees.
He was the magic behind Disco Duck.
I don't.
The magic.
I literally want to crush everything right now for Disco Duck. Buddy, I love you more than anything in the world. And I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. But you ever say the words Rick Dees to me again,
Rick Dees.
I will drop. Shut up.
That's it. Hey, what do you?
And thanks, everybody.
What? Hey, sounds familiar. You don't like something. You're mad at me, so you're gonna tear. You're gonna burn down your own airport. You're gonna burn down your own house.
I agree with again.
What are you gonna go riot?
The first
riot
time.
and burn down your own
not
neighborhood?
burn it down the first time. No, you're right. And we try to do better every time. I think if people are enjoying themselves when they listen to us.
Fuck what people think.
Yes and no. I will tell them to go fuck themselves, and if they're involved, you gleeking motherfucker. Do it. That should be the promo. I want to see you gleek right into the camera.
I can't.
That's
too much pressure.
I can't gleek. I mean, it happens. I've done it
a lot. I can't a lot, but when I always remembered it. The times that I realized that I could do it. You know, when you're a kid or when you're in the morning, when you're around your mom and dad, you look at like the sports page and you yawn.
None of that.
I know, but you'd look at the newspaper or the sports page and you'd yawn and it would go and it would just hold fucking. It was like somebody sprayed it with a mister.
No. I know what a gleek is. I don't know what parents and a sports page is.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. See, back in my day, mother, we got the afternoon and the morning papers.
What was it? Louisville Times and
Courier Journal.
Yeah. And
Louisville Times. Louisville Times was the afternoon. That was the best.
100%. It was. Which one was the best?
Well, neither, because they were the same thing. One was just the morning edition, and one was the evening edition. Isn't that weird? I mean, to me, that sounds crazy that we had a paper for the morning and a paper in the evening instead of one paper for the whole day.
Yeah. How hard could that be to have one sure. And you print and send in the morning? So it was overnight and then you got the one, and then you did something in the afternoon and you got it at 4:00. It was still not news. It is derivative of the word new.
Right.
So if you're getting shit from overnight and at 4 p.m. from something that happened at 7 a.m., how new is that?
But I think it was good because it had two teams of people working and not doing a whole day's worth of coverage. You could split people up and, you know, what do they call that? Just that offset these people working and get the most out of everybody. But I think after a while, people were like,
and it's weird after all the years of being, I got to say the word bougie. After all these years of working in the media, to see guys that worked for the Louisville Times, the Courier Journal, right. HAS in the morning, and they're all like, it's all fucking bullshit. All we have to do is put our shit out and make a good report, and we're good. I'm like, well, hang on a second. What happened to Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather? And what about doing the right? Nobody cares anymore, and I don't care. I don't even know what to look at anymore. I have a friend of mine that I'm not going to even say her name, but she said something on, and I've known her for years. She was an old friend, you know her, and I'll tell you off the air. But she was like, yep, I told you all 19 months ago that it came from Wuhan and Fauci was paid to talk about it the wrong way. And that's why all this shit's happening. That's because you all listen to the sheep. I'm like, fuck, what happened to you? You were a friend of mine. You're talking all this shit. Fauci. There might be some evidence here and there, but she has no evidence. She's saying that the virus came from Wuhan. We funded it. Fauci lied about it. And she told us 18 months ago.
because she's working at Clear Channel and she has the inside scoop because she's a giant fucking Frankenstein of a skank and she knows the inside scoops.
Now, the person you're describing is not who I'm talking about.
Oh,
But I will not disagree with your interpretation of the person that you are talking about, because all that was true too.
okay.
This is an old friend of mine, and I wanted to go, you need to get out of the woods, girl. You need to come out back to the city and get realization, because that is not what. Show me your evidence. She's had cervical cancer 4 times and was supposed to die.
Sounds like she had brain cancer too.
And she was healed all 4 times by cannabis. And don't get me wrong, I'd dig me some cannabis.
What about God? God healer?
That was part of it too. Jesus.
Oh, sorry, Jesus.
Yeah,
No, don't bring up Jesus. He was a Jew.
Oh, well, we don't want to go there either. But
because
she does the same thing it's like cyclical every 5 years.
Right.
I've got cervical cancer. I'm going to die. She calls me. She gets my email. I'm like, hey, I heard you're fucking dying. I want to make sure I talk to you. Let's have a good conversation. And I talked to her. I'm like, okay, she's bullshitting again for the 5th fucking time.
Yeah. Hey, I thought you were dying. You were dying for the 5th time now.
What was the guy? You know what? I'm going to say a name. I'm first name and last name.
I can't remember his name. But
Todd Kelly.
Todd Kelly. That's it.
I've got Lou Gehrig's disease. I'm dying. Donate to my charity, and everyone got involved. And then
and he was just a DJ, or was he an executive at that station?
He was I wouldn't call him a DJ. I would,
okay,
because
DJ's personality.
No, I would go less.
Okay.
He's not an on-air personality.
Okay.
He was a DJ, but he was director of promotions or promotion director. And he had some position, but he did this whole thing and said, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then one night, and it's going to sound, you know what? It should sound terrible, but it's not. And I think I've told this story. Guy came to me and started going, we were at one of his events, my wife and I, and at Phoenix Hill Tavern.
Right.
And he said something like, I don't know what he said. He said something like, you're bullshit, blah, blah, blah. He gave me some shit. And I didn't know the whole Lou Gehrig's thing at the time. But he said, you're a bullshitter, blah, 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 and fuck you and fuck that. And my wife looked at me and I looked at her and I was like, go to the car. And I stood up and I grabbed him by his face and I shoved him to the
him, Todd
Kelly. So I grabbed him by his face. I didn't punch him. I could have. I grabbed him by his face and I shoved him to the ground. And our bandmate, friend, Oliver's Jamie.
That's a hate crime.
Now would be a hate crime.
It would be a hate crime, but he deserved it.
But I would be vindicated.
Yeah.
I would be 100% vindicated.
Anyway.
So Jamie, our friend, in a band with me, Slave Against the Machine is the name of that band.
So you mean mugged him? Or you mugged him?
I gas-faced him.
Man, you just mugged him.
I grabbed him by his head and
you mugged him.
I was like, motherfucker, don't ever speak to me ever. That's no. And I got up and I walked out and I'm literally walking down the hallway and the manager of Phoenix Hill was like, stop me. And I was like, no, I'm already leaving. Don't worry about it. I know what happened. He was wrong. He did this, but he's your friend. He's got Lou Gehrig's disease. He was like, what? I didn't know any of this. The guy tried to punk me out, and instead of fighting him, I megged his face into the ground.
You did him a favor.
I did him a huge favor. And I walked out, and the night they did the story about Todd Kelly getting busted for the whole, I have Lou Gehrig's disease. Well, that's weird. You've been alive for 7 years.
We did a little research.
And they went to Frankie, and Frankie looked at me and was like, we're even. Shut up, dog. And she was like, we're cool. We're cool. And she was getting ready to get interviewed for that whole thing. And I was like, I told you.
Frankie was a weird chick.
But she was also a badass.
Oh, she was a badass, but everything you did with Frankie, in my experience, she was transactional. She only everything was then. If you, it doesn't matter how long of a good relationship you've had. You walk in one day and she walks right past you and she doesn't even acknowledge you, even though you're the only two standing there. And
Yep.
then you're on the shit list and you don't know why. And then you avoid her for a year, and then you come back and talk to her again, and then she wants to be friendly and have a drink. It's like and finally I just stopped even stopped even interacting with her because it was a totally different person every time
I get that. But I also don't, from her perspective, I don't know how you could do it any other way. If you had that many personalities, that many
Right.
people
No,
that were,
you can be pleasant. You can just say hi, hey. I'm not talking about going out of the way. I'm not talking about being this or that to me. I'm talking about just saying hello, just smiling or scowling and walking past.
Scowling.
I mean that goes a long way.
it
And
does.
the only place that shit is okay, that it is put up with, is at fucking bars.
And that's what she ran. It was the biggest bar in town.
Well,
And
not anymore.
that's true.
So,
But she
yeah.
did her thing, man. And you know what? I have a personal relationship with both of them. I mean, I had a key to Phoenix Hill Tavern. I love them both. Hey, shut up, dog. Get out. Goddamn dogs. I had my own issues with both of them. I love them both. And you know what? I look back on all those years, and not just band, but think about radio and think about commercials and whatever. Those guys were there for me for us, not just me, for every band we've ever been in. Whatever we said, please do this, they would do it.
Right,
Now, I'm not
because
saying they weren't the easiest to deal with, but who would be? If that
Right.
was your bar, what the fuck would you do?
we made them a lot of money. There's a
And
reason
they
why we
made
played there so
us
much.
a lot of money.
They made us a fucking splinter of what we made them. Do the math. Just do the math on the door.
I'm trying to give props to people that took care of us, and that, you know what, and that's what you're
Right.
supposed to. Would you, if you owned a business,
I'm just
shouldn't
saying,
you make more?
they made, well, of course
You
they
put
should.
you
But
put
if
the
we-
money in.
right? But if we're bringing in the asses, then it should be a a give and take.
Yeah.
I mean, they could pay us off just by what came through the door, and then talking about drinks, then just fucking just wipe up the whole side of the city with drinks, and then
Now,
2 more nights do it again.
I will say this: if you're a bar owner, you're the one putting in all the money, all the insurance, all the licenses, all that. So
know that.
you should get
You assume all the
70
risk.
You should
I'm
get
not- yeah, of
assume all
course.
the risk 70%. But I will also say this: when you have a band like us or any band that we've ever been in, you're gonna make a lot of fucking money. So
And they
give us
did.
some money.
And they did.
Oh, they did. It got to the end where we would go. I think we left it for the band, and this is where you can agree or disagree. I don't give a shit, because when the phone call comes in, it comes to me. I will always say this: $5K all day. Everyone gets $1,000. Walk in, out the door, $5,000. We're good. You don't want to do that? Fuck you.
Yeah, it's just not worth it.
No, if they gave us all $1,000 a man, they would make $20,000.
Yeah.
No matter where we play, anytime, anywhere.
Well, here's the thing. Anytime, like you, I mean, not saying you, but like anybody puts up any interference when it comes to the numbers, let's be clear here. Golden Nugget paid us more than the Phoenix Hill Tavern
They did. And
Okay.
TKs.
and paid our tab
Yeah.
and made a fucking shitload of money
And hung out with us after.
and made a shit ton of money and paid the bills in that place.
And the Golden Nugget.
Don't ever come to me with the corporate giant that was Phoenix Hill Tavern saying, well, they got their margins. Oh, really? No, they could have paid us double what they did and still made a fucking embarrassment of money.
I've said it a million times. I'll say it again.
We were worth what we did for them, and the numbers we brought was worth double what we made.
And I'll say it again. We will get back together anytime you want. I want 1,000.
I don't ever want to do it again. Period. End of story.
I would, man, that's me. I love you guys so much.
I mean, I would do it, but I don't want to do it.
But if someone
Nobody's ever going to do it. Nobody will. So why even entertain?
You know what? I agree. I know what you're saying. I don't want to tarnish. I don't want to do it. But
no, it's just not.
If someone gave all of us $1,000 each,
like I said, I would, but it doesn't mean I would like it.
Well, then I don't want to do it. I don't need the $1,000. And
what does it matter
if you don't like it,
I mean, that's why we stopped, because it stopped being fun
eh,
for a number of reasons.
yes,
One of them being Donnie Island. Pardon my use of the last name. But I mean,
main reason,
the main reason.
yes.
Yeah, when Jason says, I don't want to, I can't deal with Donnie
Then
anymore.
fuck you. Then don't fucking do it. I don't fucking care. I thought you wanted to do this. If you don't want to fucking do it, don't fucking do it. Don't come to me and go, you're singing my part. I was like, what part? I'm singing a part. I just sing what I hear. Well, I'm singing this. Well, then change your part. No, you change your part. I was like, all right, you didn't sing in the band for 15 years.
Right.
I just sing what I sing.
Yeah.
Now you want to.
Now you're Lindsey Buckingham. Now you're out fucking Arthur Fiedler. You're out here conducting the orchestra.
Now you're Christine McVie.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
What are you, the Boston Pops? What are you? Conducting? Hey, I remember one time he was like, "Oh, we're just not going to play that song because it's this sucks." And I'm like, "Says who?" He's like, "Oh, it says me." I was like, "Well, it's going on the song list, going on the set list."
I remember you and I were talking one night, and Jason was talking about stopping the band or whatever, and you were like, "I just bought an $800 keyboard. Fuck that guy." I was like, "God damn it! I want to give you $400 for that keyboard just because you bought it, but I'm not giving you $400. $400 for one song that we're trying to keep everyone happy, keep everyone together, and to do this shit." And listen, we made tons of money. And if you look back and you do the math, which I have, millions of dollars. We paid our taxes. We did everything right. But over a 20-year period, it's at least 1 million. I know for sure. You want the tax returns?
We didn't play 20 years. Again, we played about
7 years, and the other 3, and the whatever. It's close. It's like $890,000.
That doesn't surprise me.
And I love you guys, and I literally wouldn't. People go, "You gonna get back in the band?" I'm like, no, not without those 5 guys, and those 5 guys don't want to fucking do it. So that's fine. I'm 50 fucking years old. I don't care. I don't need to be in a band. I've done it.
Okay, we should start a band then.
All right, so the next band is called.
Yeah, real principled stance you've got there, Scott.
No, I've got no. Come on, you've known me long enough. I have no principles. It's gonna get weird is the name of the podcast. Frank Green, Scott Clark. It's gonna get weird. Shut up, dog. I'm trying to finish the show. It's gonna get weird. 369gmail.com. We got some big guests coming up. I'm gonna say their names. Is that okay?
No.
Nope. We got big guests coming up. I'm told no. One is and one is
Not
and
answering.
the
my
other
email.
one is
Not answering my email.
and the other one is
Not responding any more than once every 5 days.
you can find Frank Green anywhere you want to on social media. You can find me, Scott Clark, on social media anywhere you want to. We're available on every possible platform ever. It's gonna get weird is the name of the podcast. Frank Green, Scott Clark. Y'all be cool.